Hello, Charlotte golfers. Danny coming at you again. Today's adventure brings me to the Divide Golf Club in Matthews, North Carolina. I'm very eager to bring this to you and show you the golf course because my golf group was out here a couple of weeks ago and we had such a good time. The golf course is in really good condition and I can't wait for you to see the golf course. So with that said, I'm inviting you to come along. They have a massive hitting area for the range, 50 or 60 yards, and then 2 tiers. And the grass is in really good condition. It's a great place to come and practice, get warmed up. And right over here, they've got a little putting chipping green. Then I'd say one of the largest putting greens I've ever seen. Huge putting green to come out and practice on. I mean, so our tour begins right here on the first hole, and I'm on the very back tee. This tee is going to measure out at about 6,922 yards. That's the golds. The blue tee is going to measure out at 6,506. The white tee 6,090. The green tee 5,293, and then the red tee 5,183. We're hoping that we can miss the rain. The clouds are very ominous. But as you can see, I'm looking at the first fairway here at Divide. You guys know the rule. Can I play the golf ball down? Well, the answer is yes. Fairways are in great condition. I'm right here at the 150-yard marker looking at the green on the first hole. I'm very excited to take a look. I know I use excited a lot, but today I'm very eager to see the greens here. They are Diamond Zoysia, and I got to play here a couple weeks. They're in good shape. There were a couple that need some TLC, but they're coming right along, and the number 1 green was in great shape. So let's see what the rest of the golf course looks like. As we approach number 1 green, there's a big bunker here to the right. You can see, I'm sneaking in here between 2 walkers, but you can see the greens here. I didn't really notice anything a couple weeks ago playing that Zoysia performed any differently than Bermuda or Bent. The greens rolled really nicely. You can see there's a lot of grass coverage on this first green. I was very pleased with it. Like I said, I had never putted on Diamond Zoysia before, so I was very curious, but I didn't really notice anything different. No more grain, nothing like that. So, and the second hole is a par 5. It's very challenging. It's long. You can see you've got the hazard area here, tees back here. Hole's going to play somewhere between 5 and 550 yards depending on the tee that you play. And then your second shot here, you've got to be very careful. All of this is hazard all the way down the right hand side. You do have out of bounds here, so you've got to be very accurate, and you've got to hit a longer shot so you don't have 180 yards into this green. The golf course was founded back in 1995, so it's been around for a while. It's located off of Stevens Mill Road in the Stallings, Matthews area. I take Idlewild Rd and then take a left on Stevens Mill, and the golf course is down the left. I will say from South Charlotte, it took me 35 minutes. And based off of our round a couple weeks ago, I'm gonna say that the Divide is now one of my favorite layouts in Charlotte. I think it might be one of the best layouts in this entire area. So I encourage you to come out. Next up, a quick little par 3. Good par 3. From the back tee, it's going to play 198, 170, 139 from the whites. But a good looking par 3. And the green looks good too. And this is one of the greens that when we were out here a couple weeks ago, this green had a little bit of work done to it. They had top dressed it. So it looked like it was completely covered in sand. But as you can see now, the green has come back a lot. So they're doing a lot of work out here. Didn't quite beat the dew sweepers today. It's 7:30. I'm on the 4th hole. And we've got folks out here walking, getting their exercise in for the day. But this is a really challenging hole. From back here, it's 414 yards. Look how narrow it is. I mean, gracious. Looks like it's about as narrow as my driveway. And then from the tee here, you're gonna have somewhere between 150 to 100 yards, give or take. Once again, the green is kind of set back in this hollow. Really beautiful hole, very challenging hole as well. You gotta drive it right down the middle. If I can sneak in here, but in between these golfers, I wanna show you how good this green is doing. The other day, this was top dressed. They're giving this some TLC. It's coming right along. A lot of grass compared to the last time we were playing. But they're also gonna take out some trees, work on some drainage over here. So a lot of good things going on. One of the things that I appreciated the most when we came out was the mixture or the combination of really challenging holes that you had to drive the golf ball very straight and long, but then fun holes where the pressure was relieved a little bit and you could kind of let the driver go and you didn't have to be necessarily as accurate. The other thing was the par threes are very challenging, at least I thought that they were, but great mixture of challenge and fun. And this is one of those holes I'm talking about. This is a par 5, pretty wide fairway. I mean, between the tree lines, if you look at what might intimidate a golfer, very wide between the tree lines, a lot of fairway to drive the golf ball. So this is the first opportunity to really let loose, smash one of those drives. And standing right at about the 220 mark, you can see this green is surrounded by bunkers. Very challenging shot coming in, so you've got to be real careful. Best bet is to hit it out there to the right, like maybe over that 150 marker here, lay up there so you have an angle into this green. If you have hit your golf ball here and laid up, you've got a simple little pitch. You have a simple little pitch up to this green. And you can see they've laid some sod here and some here, and it's coming in nicely. In another week or two, you won't even be able to tell. They've got really good conditions around the greens. You've heard me say this in some of the other videos that I want to be able to play the golf ball down, and then around the greens, do the surfaces give me an opportunity, you know, and are the conditions good enough to give me an opportunity to get the ball up and down? And I'd say absolutely. Now, the rough is not penal, I wouldn't say. However, in some spots, like right here, that rough is 2 inches, 2.5 inches deep. But then in other areas, it isn't. Like this rough here is like maybe 3/4 of an inch. So you got to be careful with the rough. But I would say overall, like on the side of this fairway here, overall the rough was fair, at times penal, but not impossible. The other thing that I look at whenever I come out to the golf course is, in general, between the boundaries of the golf course. What I mean by this, the tee boxes, the fairways, the rough, and the greens, like the playing area of the golf course where you should hit your golf ball. How are those conditions? Are the bunker edges trimmed? Are the weeds under control? Is the rough cut? Are the fairways cut? Fringes, that kind of thing. Like, how's the condition of the actual golf course itself, not necessarily the property of the golf course? I hope that makes sense, because sometimes I think folks will go and play a golf course and maybe the periphery edges are a little rough. Maybe there's some worn out areas, or maybe some weeds in creeks. And I've had friends of mine say, well, that golf course wasn't in very good shape. And then I go play it and I'm like, tees were great. You can play the golf ball down. The greens were rolling really well. The fringes and the rough were really good. Like, I don't understand. But they got distracted with all the other periphery stuff. The golf course here is in really, really good condition. I would say the periphery of the golf course in most areas is trimmed up. Not a lot of worn out spots, that kind of thing. They're really starting to take care of it. So visually to the eye, the golf course is looking really good. Another hole here that kind of lets you relax a little bit. Simple little par 4. hit the ball in the fairway here and you should be able to make par, birdie, or bogey depending on your skill level. And I want to get up a close-up look at the grass on the greens just to try and give you a better perspective on what they look like and how they roll. This is the 6th green. Grass looks really good. Have you guys ever played a golf course before that has Zoysia greens? I have not. This was the first time in my life I've ever played. Now, I've played golf courses that had Zoysia fairways. Peninsula Club up at Lake Norman has Zoysia fairways. When you're riding on those fairways, you can kind of feel the cart go back and forth with the grain of the grass. So I didn't know if there was going to be a lot of grain like that, but there wasn't. And they putted really well. But I'd be curious to know, you ever played another golf course that has Zoysia greens? Leave me a comment, let me know. So I want to take a look here at number 7 green. They've been doing a lot of TLC on this green too. It's coming right along. It's starting to rain, so I'm gonna have to move it along, but I did want to take a look at this. Then I'd say this might be one of my favorite holes in the golf course. Number 8, tee off, very narrow teeing area. You really need to hit driver. From the blue tees, it's 427. From the white tees, it's like 376 or 375, give or take. But you got to be accurate. You have to hit something long, and then you should have like 150, 160 into the screen. But really fun hole. Your approach shot back from about 150 into this green here. The rough around the screen, I remember, is really thick. So if you're going to hit it in this, you better have a really good short game. But of course, you can make some putts on the greens, so. Really fun finishing hole in the front 9. Hits back to the clubhouse, as you can see there, and you can maybe just make out the hint of the green right there in front of the clubhouse. But really fun hole to finish on. Need to hit a good drive. Maybe it'll give you somewhere right around the 150 marker into the screen over the creek, kind of down the hill. Here's the view of the green from the fairway. So I'm right at the 100-yard marker, so the shot's right down the hill. Really fun hole. There's a lot of fun holes on this golf course that are also very challenging, which I really appreciated. This is the type of golf course that I could play every day, and I don't think I'd get tired of playing it. And number 10 doesn't look very intimidating, but there's this big, I think it's an oak tree on the right-hand side that kind of forces the ball out to the left, forces you to hit a tee shot out to the left. And you've got to be fairly precise, and the hole's going to play about 400 yards depending on which tee you play. Really good beginning to the back 9. I'm in the middle of number 11 fairway. Doesn't require much off the tee, it's back here. 3 wood, 5 wood, and leave you something well inside of 150 yards. I think this is right about where I was when we played the other day, 115 yards. You've got a creek that runs right here, so you got to be very careful of that. And where I am, if you hit driver and miss it right, the creek is here as well. So the creek comes into play on the right, like 240 off the tee. So you've got to be very selective, very careful off this tee and what you hit. I don't know if this is a big deal to you guys, but the carts are good as well. And I know some people might say, well, what does that even matter? Well, if you've played a golf course before that has really bad golf carts, it can really dampen the experience. But windshield really comes into play today. Rain hood definitely comes into play. I love the fact that they've got the sand bottles. Cart's in good shape, as you can see. Very comfortable. Number 12 is our first par 5 on the back 9. You do have a bunker. I'm going to see if I can zoom in so you can see it there. You have a bunker right there that you've got to be careful of. And the fairway is just to the left of that. So aiming at the left tree line with a cut and keeping it left of that bunker It's going to be the ideal tee shot. Don't hold me to the specifics of what I'm about to say, but I think that these greens were installed and opened 1 year ago, give or take. So they're still, I wouldn't say relatively new, but I'd say they're looking really good. But you guys get to be the judge. The other thing I'd be curious to hear from you, are golf carts a big deal to you? I don't know. They are to me. I don't want to play a golf course that has bad golf carts. I was playing around a golf one time with some friends, and the cart broke down on us. And they had to bring a cart out, and we had to walk a few holes, which isn't, you know, what am I complaining about? I probably need the exercise. Nonetheless, it did take away from the experience, and the golf carts were not very well maintained. So they struggled getting up some hills here and there, and they didn't have a windshield, they didn't have a rain hood, there were no sand bottles on the golf cart, they didn't have like a USB or anything like that. And I will say that it did take away from the experience, but I'd be curious to know, are good golf carts important to you? I don't know, maybe not. Let me know. And as I said before, the par threes out here are really challenging. This tee back here is going to play about 175. That's the back tee. See, the blue tee here is right at like 155. This hole plays uphill. And this is a really good, challenging par three. You got to be careful. This tree here does overhang a little bit. So you know, for those that draw the golf ball, this is going to be a bit of a challenge. You've got to hit it out here to the left and kind of cut something back to the right. But the green sits uphill. I'd say that this is a good, solid club to club and a half uphill, and you better hit it in the middle of the club face. You need to hit this ball solid and control it. But man, give you a little sneak peek from the 14th tee. Gonna just peek right over at the 18th green. But we're not there yet. We're right here on number 14. Once again, another really good golf hole. Hole plays right at 400 yards or so, maybe 380 from this tee here. But you can see the 150 marker. Hit it in the middle of the fairway, you're gonna have about 8 or 9 iron in this green. As I approach the green here, I did step it off. This green is 34 steps deep from front to back. Really challenging green, but made the hole a lot of fun because I actually hit my ball here on the front left. The pin was all the way in the back, so I had a very, very, very long putt. But 34, 35 steps deep, that's 3 to 4 clubs difference from the front edge to the back of the green. So you can imagine if you've got 130 to the middle, but the pin's in the back, it could play 145, 150, but it could also play to the front. It could only play like 115. So you can have anything from some type of wedge all the way up to 7 or 6 iron or so. Looking at the 15th fairway coming up the hill from behind the green, I just wanted to give you a general look of the playing conditions of what I was talking about earlier, of what does the golf course look between the tree lines, like where you're supposed to hit the golf ball. Rough is really good. It's maintained. It is thick in some places. Greens are in good shape. And you can see back, looking back, tee boxes back here. Fairways are in good shape too. So all in all, I'd say good conditions. 16 provides what I believe might be the most challenging tee shot on the golf course. And it is as narrow in person as it looks right here. As you can see, you better hit it down the middle. There's a little bunker over here to the left that's kind of hiding to catch balls that go left. I mean, you better hit it straight. 16 presents another challenge other than really demanding tee shot. It's the fact that if I walk to the left here, I'm in the middle of the fairway. Green is right here if you could have seen it. But as I move left, I'm in the fairway now. I'm on the very left side of the fairway, just short of that bunker. You cannot see the green now. Now you've got to hit something out here that hooks around. So not only do you have to hit a good tee shot here, but you've got to hit a tee shot that stays out to the right. And now, right now is about where you can start seeing the green. So you've only got about 20 steps from where I am to the edge of the fairway, and you've only got like maybe 30 to the trees. Holy cow. We were here a couple weeks ago. This green was very sandy. As you can see, they've done a lot of sod work. This green is coming right along. I'd say 2 or 3 more weeks, this green will have filled in really nicely. And our last 2 holes, 2 good finishing holes from the blue tee here, 165 yard par 3, bunker right, bunker left, really challenging green. Force you to hit a good shot here. The green is in exceptional condition, plenty of coverage and grass. And that was my impression. You know, I'd say 15 of the greens were like this, really good condition. 3 needed some TLC, but all in all, the 3 greens that they've been showing some TLC to, it didn't detract from the enjoyment of the round of golf. It also didn't really play much of a part in our scores or anything like that, but it definitely didn't take away, because the rest of the golf course is, as you see here, you know, really good condition. Number 18 at the Divide, in my opinion, one of the best finishing holes. I love finishing on a par 5. Plenty of room to drive the tee ball so you can let loose. 555 from the blues, 524 from the whites, 495 from the greens, 467 from the reds. Grip it and rip it. If you do smash your tee ball, you're going to have something right in here, which is about 235 yards into this green. Obviously, the number one thing that comes to the eye is all of the water. This is a carry to dry ground of right at about 210 yards. But you have to hit this ball into the middle of the green if you're going to go for it in 2. Here's the great thing. You have over here to the right, you've got more fairway. So you can take something like a hybrid or a 5-wood or something and kind of lay that up. Demanding shot if you decide to go for this in 2. Great finishing hole. And this is what your layup shot will look like. About 100 yards into this green. Really big green. Good opportunity to make a good score here to finish up. I like that. And as is the common story, once again, greens are really good. It's a really big green. This green is about 41 steps front to back, so massive green. Really good opportunity here to hit something in and try and make a good score to finish up your round of golf. We booked our tee time at charlottegolf.com. You can as well. That's it for the Divide. Great day out here. I really want to say thank you to Boyd for having me out to take a look at the golf course. A couple weeks ago when we played, we had a lot of fun. And I was left with a couple of impressions. Number one, the Divide layout is going to the top of my list as one of my favorites in Charlotte. Maybe my favorite layout in all of Charlotte. Reasons are, it was a challenging layout, but it was also a really fun layout. And because we had a lot of fun playing the golf course, but it wasn't a pushover, we all were left saying how much we really appreciated the layout of the golf course. Number two, the golf course itself was in really good condition. Fairways were good, the tee boxes were good, most of the greens were good. Like I said, there were 2 or 3 that they were giving some TLC to, but in the 2 weeks since we've been gone, those greens have come a long way in the recovery process, and they were so much better. I can only imagine, and I'm eager to get back here maybe in a couple more weeks and play the golf course. I can only imagine what those greens are going to look like in 2 more weeks. So all in all, great day. I encourage you to come out, take a look at the golf course. Let me know what you think. Are there any courses in Charlotte that you'd like to see me do a review? I don't know, maybe I can jump out there and take a look at them for you. Hope you have a great day. And until the next time, my friends, hit them long and hit them straight.